Hello, and welcome to Beilman's Corner. Today we have a very special guest with us, and I'm very excited. It's Francis Ford Coppola. He happened to be at a wine tasting ceremony we were attending, Chell and I, and it was here in Shelton, Connecticut at Jones Tree Farm and Winery. And we happened to meet him. He was there, and I asked him if he would do an interview with our small little whatever subscriber channel we have, and he said yes! So here he is today. Francis, I'm so happy to have you, and I'll get right into the questioning. The Cannes Film Festival just occurred, and you just had your premiere there. Tell me, what did you do to prepare for Cannes Film Festival? Wow.
I remember I hid under my bed because, you know, when you're going through that and you have a picture that isn't being received, well, everyone seems to have the need to talk to you, either to console you or to say, oh, they're wrong or they're right. So I hid. But under the bed, I realized that what was wrong, as you know, Godfather 2 was sort of two time periods. It was like a prequel and a sequel of the same. And I realized under the bed that what I had done wrong is that 10 minutes, which is what the plan always was.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
It was too short, and that the movie the audience was yanked out of the story they were in too soon. And if I could figure out, and the movie was going to open in 6 weeks in New York.
And I had one more question about
another preview in San Diego scheduled in 4 days. If I could figure out how to make these 10-minute intervals 20 minutes,
right,
and without going into the detail of film mechanics, and at that stage, the sound and everything was mixed and it was on.
It doesn't seem like I'm going to get any questions in here.
There were no numbers. So it turned out to do what I wanted to do was 120 picture changes. And the editors would have to stay up all night for 2 nights, 3 nights, and they did. And they literally ran it through synchronized machines, and there were bed sheets on the floor because
please let me ask one more question, please.
Get dirty for
it's ridiculous.
And they made
I want to ask one question to a celebrity. This is not working.
Showed the same film with one essential adjustment, that everything that had been 10 minutes was.
Hi, and welcome to Beilman's Corner. Today we're going to be reviewing Megalopolis, and as you saw, my brother here secured us a interview with Mr. Coppola.
It didn't go great.
No. You know, some days you have a short fuse, and that's just happened to be one of them. He was being kind of a prick.
He was.
Interrupting you, letting you ask any more questions.
I had to give up eventually, and maybe next time it'll go a little better. We're probably not going to have any wine tastings anytime
we're
soon.
Not. We'll probably be banned because I think he probably knows the Joneses family or something.
He didn't even say goodbye to me after that. So.
No, he stormed out of here after you stormed out.
But I don't care.
Well, I wish we could have gotten that on tape. But
only if I had his list.
We kicked the camera's plug out before we got before we got him flipping out. So
it was
a disaster.
It was a disaster.
But at least we had him here.
Yeah, and it's our first try.
You know, for a channel with only 65 subscribers, we probably it's probably rare.
Definitely. Well, if we nailed an interview of that caliber that quickly, I think we'll get more.
It might have helped that we asked him well late into the wine tasting.
Yes, you're right.
It was like right at the end of the wine tasting we were having.
Well, it makes it easier to kind of kick him in the, dirt, his movie.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Megalopolis.
It's not great.
Megaflopolis? Megaslopolis?
I like that one.
Megaplopolis?
Megaplopolis. I like that one.
It's just disastrous.
It's a disaster because it's like a big plot.
But we do kind of think.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the movie. So it's been a long journey, the movie. After I watched it, I kind of went and looked a little research up on it.
Yeah.
And apparently it's been something he's been kicking around in his head since like 76 or something like that.
Something like 30 years.
And
his pet project.
You can actually go and Google like him talking, and he'll find him like all the way back in the day.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yep, interviews from like.
So it's kind of interesting that it's a passion project. Apparently he's had in his heart for God knows. Going on 40, 50 years, whatever.
It's too bad he waited till he was freaking 80 years old to make it.
To do it because it's a little disjointed. Is how I would tell them.
I'd say it was disjointed. And I wouldn't say it's completely not good. That's all.
No. Yeah, here's an interesting take we have.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I think it's going to be a cult classic.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have for people that like So Bad It's Good movies.
Yes, it's not that it's going to be a good cult classic.
Yeah, no.
I don't think so.
People are going to love the So Bad It's Goodness of this movie.
Because it is laughable, and there's a lot of really good actors.
There are some key gems
that make
the bow and arrow boner scene
with John Voight. There's a scene where John Voight gets a boner, but it happens to be his.
With Shia LaBeouf are kind of hysterical. He was playing up the part. He understood the assignment perfectly.
Claudius.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf as Claudius. That was a thing too. There's a lot of canceled actors in this. And I've seen an interview with Francis Ford Coppola in the past where he talks about how he doesn't like the whole cancel culture thing.
Yeah, and there's even kind of a subplot of a virgin, minor virgin.
Yes.
A girl that's supposedly a virgin that's like 16 or 14 years old,
whatever she's supposed to be.
And
yeah. And
they catch out Adam Driver's character.
Yeah.
Well,
also, you got to mention that they're auctioning her off for her virginity. In this.
Okay, maybe we should start back at the beginning.
Start at the premise.
Yeah, let's hold on. Before we get to that virgin scene.
Yeah. America is basically Rome. This is
it's a reimagining of what the future of America if New York was Rome.
New York was
or
a new Rome.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And Adam Driver plays an eccentric-minded genius guy that came up with this Megalon material.
Yes, the Megalon material.
He keeps saying it's a Megalon principle.
Yeah.
And they don't really define it well, but it's going to be a material that can do anything.
Yeah, it can do anything, change the future.
And also, Adam Driver has a superpower of being able to freeze time.
Freeze time, he can freeze time.
Time stop!
Yeah, with his time stop ability. And this material he's created helps him later on. He gets an assassination attempt on his life.
And it repairs him.
It repairs the
So it can do everything from build a city to heal a bullet hole in your face.
Yeah. So that's ridiculous.
So, anyways, Adam Driver wants to build a utopia. Is the idea, and Mayor Cicero, who is played by
Giancarlo Esposito, who's in everything now,
is trying to stop him because he thinks he's basically a bought-off politician.
Yeah.
And he's of the old guard. He wants it to be the status quo and keep it going the way it is.
Yeah. So he's like one of the main guys.
There's that plot thread,
protagonist.
But then there's also in the middle of the movie, it switches to Shia LaBeouf's character after the New York City gets destroyed by a rogue satellite that crashes on it.
Yeah, and he's the son of, is it Cicero? Whoever John Voight plays.
John Voight plays like an emperor, basically.
Yeah.
Whatever his role is in the city.
And they're all interrelated in some way. He's related to Adam Driver in some way.
So it's kind of like. Yeah, kind of like mimicking Rome.
Rome and the stupid.
But also, it's so disjointed because the time periods. There's like old-fashioned cars, and there's like some like futuristic-looking scenes.
Yeah, even the filmmaking is disjointed.
Yeah, and then like they have these.
He does these close-ups that are really weird, and he takes things from Metropolis. You can tell he's ripping off generously from Metropolis, the old sci-fi classic from the 20s. Because he has these close-ups that he does that are just like a circle shot of just like Adam Driver's
like kind of like a That's All Folks.
Yes.
Kind of like zoom in.
And so many times I was thinking to myself, in that scene with the secretaries where they're just like in unison writing, it just so many things reminded me of Metropolis where I was like, this is so lame.
The main concept is Adam Driver wants to get this utopia built.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other crap that's going on between political intrigue and stuff that doesn't make a lot of sense a lot of the time. No, and it's just one disjointed scene to the next disjointed scene, and they're loosely tied together.
There's affairs going on.
Yeah. And Wild Platinum,
played by Aubrey Plaza, which is America's favorite sweetheart right
and
now.
Everybody's crush.
And
it's just like...
She plays this wheeler and dealer reporter who's just trying to rise through the ranks of power. She's sleeping with Caesar.
Do we know the rating on this?
I think it's PG-13. Probably.
No way, because the scenes they have of this.
Oh, you're right. They show nipples, and there's a scene with her.
It's got to be at least
R rating.
It's got to be an R rating.
Because there's scenes with her getting, like Shia LaBeouf kind of, can I say, going
there
down
are some
her.
very intense sexual scenes in this.
Her writing him basically, his face basically.
I'm not knocking that Aubrey Plaza was all women because it was interesting.
But they're weird scenes, and it's like a power dynamic.
Yeah, and it's just like where you're
taking
thinking,
advantage of him.
And then you think about like Francis Ford Coppola directing this?
Yeah. It's lame.
That's
You're right. There's a lot of creepiness involved there, too.
End, you know?
Definitely. I heard they improvised that scene, too, somewhere else.
Wow.
Yep, that he allows his actors space, and that Aubrey Plaza came up with that scene. In fact.
Wow.
Yep.
Good for her.
So there's a lot of, like, scenes that'll leave you being like, wow, that's amazing, they did that. Well, that's what they're going for, you know. Like,
Okay, yeah, the effects. So I watched a little thing online about this, and apparently halfway through the effects,
the effects are tough.
This was on the Quarter Crew thing I saw on it. You know, shout out to those guys because we watch them occasionally.
Yeah.
But they were talking about how I guess he fired his entire VFX staff and then hired a relative of his.
That makes so much sense.
Who's in the VFX industry and is actually accredited for doing like Marvel stuff.
Okay.
But
he seemed rushed.
It seemed rushed, wasn't it?
Because there's scenes like that circus scene that are hilarious. Like where there's like, I think there's supposed to be Chinese jugglers. And
it's just like the worst.
It's so
green screen.
It's really bad.
Like the proportions are all right. The crowd's clearly fake.
Yep.
And
it's Neil Breen-esque. Neil Breen-esque.
So with theory, I had it after watching it a second time because we watched it twice.
Yeah, we had to.
And I almost have a little like that's when the second time was when I'm like, this is eventually going to be like a so bad it's good cult classic.
Because we were laughing our asses off.
Because there were scenes we were laughing our asses off because of how bad.
A lot of it being Adam Driver.
The thing is, hilarious. Like where it's kind of like Showgirls, where Verhoeven's Showgirls.
Yeah.
Where I think Verhoeven may have had the intent of it being satire and kind of being over the top.
Yeah. I like this point.
I don't think Coppola meant to be over the top at all.
No, I think he thought this was going to be his masterpiece.
I think he was dead serious about it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so bad it's good, kind of funny. It's almost Breen-esque.
I would like to see someone other than me interview him and kind of really dig into him. I wanted to dig into him on that, but
you bump into the man and you have to give him a certain level of respect. He did make The Godfather.
Yes, so he made The Godfather. He made Apocalypse Now, and he's made some really good movies. But at some point
you kind of age out, I think.
Yeah, age out. I think by the time of
maybe not everybody.
Maybe the 90s. He should have given it a rest.
Oh crap.
So
I think you age out at some point.
I think you do too.
But maybe not with him.
I think
maybe not with certain directors, but maybe he is. I mean, with him, I think he's aged out.
And I think he's
enjoying his winery.
Yeah, let him go.
He even sold like a big portion or something of it to fund this movie and get it done. So that I give him respect for following his vision through.
Yep.
Over the 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
But truth be told, it's not a great movie.
No, it's
not. And really,
not.
At one point, we were like, we had a bunch of good laughs, but then we were like, well, how much longer?
Yeah, we found ourselves doing that a lot.
And we checked the time bar, and we were just like...
It's over 2 hours long, I think, a little bit. But
oh my God, there's still that much time left in the movie. Yeah. There's still another hour and 10 minutes in this movie.
But it got kind of good at the end, with the assassinations taking
there's some parts that just had us actually laughing in hysterics, almost in tears, because of how bad it was.
Yeah, we'll leave you a little weird, because I do say go watch it.
Definitely go give it a watch, because it is a Francis Ford Coppola. He's definitely a renowned filmmaker,
but don't give it that.
Don't give it that much credit because it isn't a great movie.
It's fun to watch.
But it's his vision. You can see he had like a vision going through, and there's definitely some parallels to his views about what happened with him in his life about trying to start his own studio. And getting knocked down because he didn't do it.
You can tell he's got a lot of gripes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it has this really bad hope. Let's just talk about this ending really quick before we can sign off, give it a rating
without giving too much away. Yeah. But the movie ends and it's
so at the end.
Yeah.
Eventually, so the girl from Game of Thrones, what's her name?
We just looked it up and I'm gonna forget. Emmanuel, I forget.
Something Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Miss Emmanuel.
Natalie
Emmanuel, that's it, yes.
Yep.
So Natalie Emmanuel.
From Game of Thrones fame.
From Game of Thrones fame, is the daughter of Giancarlo
Esposito.
Mayor Cicero.
Yep.
Who wants to go the old way. But she's fallen...
For Caesar.
She falls in love with Caesar. Mm-hmm. And eventually... She woos her dad over.
Yeah.
In the end.
And they're all buddies in the end.
And it's like this utopia.
That's the end.
And utopia at the end because
Shia LaBeouf's getting strung up like Mussolini.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf gets exposed for a con man.
Not as violently as Mussolini.
But then at the very end, they're like on a glass floor shot.
Yeah.
And like
the effects.
You hear the time freeze.
Yes.
And their baby is the only thing like
can move.
and then it does
Oh yes, it does. Yep.
That's all, folks. Like I expected the baby to
Looney
do that.
Tunes. Yep.
Because that's what happens at the end.
But he thinks it's fucking like French New Wave.
But yeah, his vision, he probably thought it was super artistic.
Yeah,
and there are some actually decent shots here that you could probably be like that. Those actually have very good artistic vision.
Anytime there's CGI,
rushed, whenever there was CGI, it felt rushed.
Yeah, and it's noticeable, and it's terrible.
But the actors did as much as they could with it.
As they could.
And they really put their art. Some of them definitely understood the assignment and kind of played it up satirically, I think. Because Shia LaBeouf, yeah, that's true. Apparently. He plays it well. And actually, Adam Driver does a great job with what. And actually, all the actors do a great job.
They do.
With what they have in front of them.
Well, meddling anyway.
And if you don't watch it, taking it too seriously, it can be a fun time.
That's what we suggest. Yeah. Watch it.
If you were to rate it on a serious level, though, on art,
serious level.
Okay, we're gonna do 2 ratings here.
Yeah.
You're so bad it's good rating.
My so bad it's good rating. I'd give it an 8.
That's
because
where I am.
Fun. Yeah,
I would say it's an 8 out of 10 on the so bad it's good.
Really
There's
good.
Little dips of boringness
because of the boringness part.
But when you get through those, there's some golden nuggets in there that'll have you pretty much laughing pretty hard. Now,
as far as
the real rating, as if you were to say,
if I was like Roger Ebert,
hey, do you want to go out and watch this movie? What would you say this was rated as a serious type of rating?
I'd give it a 4 out of 10. Because it's got some artistic merit.
I give you that. Yeah, I'd say a 4 out of 10. I agree. We are in concurrence on the ratings here.
But for the most part,
so bad it's good. It's an 8 out of 10.
Boom.
Otherwise, it's if you try to watch it being serious.
You like 4 out of 10 too?
Yeah, 4 out of 10. I'm a 4 out of 10 with you.
All right, so we're both in agreement. All right, so we'll leave you with that.
But I say if you have a good night with your buddies over and you guys
if you
so
drink,
bad they're good.
There's a million drinking games.
You can make off a ton of drinking games with us. But it's a fun little flick to so bad it's good.
Yeah,
wise.
Enjoy it.
So go and enjoy it. Thank you for joining us on Beilman's Corner. Before we leave, please like and subscribe.
Definitely, we are good at that part.
The next upcoming films we are going to be doing, we're doing an action
summer
of action.
Yeah.
And we're gonna cover Only the Strong and Best of the Best for sure. And then we'll leave the other couple ones we have on the back burner for a surprise.
Yeah.
So those are coming next. So like and subscribe. Thank you for joining us for our review and discussion on Megalopolis.
In our hot studio.
And it's warm in here.
Thank you.
Please come back again and thank you. Have a good time. Bye now.